Hi guys, this is Meenu. Welcome back to my channel StoryTale. Today I'm going to be talking about the second book in the Six of Crows duology, and that is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Burdugo. I have already reviewed the first book in the series and I'm going to give the link in the description down below, or you can check it in the eye. I'm in love with Six of Crows book 1. I think that is my favorite book of all time. I love everything about that book. I love the story. I love the characters. Every relationship, every romance, it is just a perfect combination for me. So of course I had to read the second book in the series, The Crooked Kingdom, and somehow the book only gets better. This is again going to be a spoiler filled review. So if you have not read the book, which is kind of shocking because I think everyone have read this book except for me, I have just read it, but I think everyone has read this book. So if by any chance if you have not read this book, you can leave right now because this is going to be a spoiler filled review. So now without wasting any more time, let's continue. In the Six of Crows book, we get to see these 6 amazing characters: Kaz, Inej, Matthias, Nina, Villain and Jesper. These people were hired to take on this big heist which was supposed to happen in this very dangerous court, which is the ice court. They needed to rescue a scientist who was making this Parem Jarda, which is a very dangerous kind of a drug, you can say, which makes Grisha people more powerful, but it was again a very toxic for them because it kind of had a very dangerous withdrawal and they needed to consume it like on a daily basis for them to live through it. So that is the heist that they take upon, and they take upon it by the orders of John Van Eyck, who offered them I think 40 million kruge in order to do this heist and bring back that person. But in the ending of the last book, he kind of backs off in his promise, and Kaz, being as smart as he is, he kind of figured that is what is gonna happen. That is why he changes Villain's face into Kuoi's face, the scientist that they actually end up rescuing. But Van Eyck realizes that Inej is actually Kaz's weakness, so he captures her and will only give her back in exchange of Kuoi. I know that I'm pronouncing the name wrong, but I'm not actually good with names. So of course I'm going to be pronouncing the name wrong the whole video. And I'm also going to put this book down because again this is very heavy. I do not know why I just picked them up in the first place. So this book starts with Inej being captured and held by Van Eyck and Kaz trying to actually rescue her. Kaz actually makes a deal with Pekka Rolling in order to rescue Inej. He needed some money and he made a deal with him. I love the fact that his love for Inej is much greater than his revenge for Pekka Rollins. I think that is just amazing. I was kind of scared the whole time Inej was in the captivity, especially after this one scene we get when she's almost out. But then Van Eyck is also very smart, so he figured out that what she's gonna do and then he captures her back. And then he tries to break her leg. I think that is again a scene that I didn't want to read because I was afraid that that is something gonna happen, and I know that Kaz will be angry after that, but I just did not want that to happen to Inej. But that did not happen, so that is a good thing. But anyway, by using his brain, because Kaz is like the smartest person in this whole universe, so he takes back Inej in exchange of something that he did. But anyway, we get to finally see Inej and Kaz, and when they finally see each other, and that scene, that was just amazing. I'm gonna read that scene to you. That is something from Nina's point of view, so I'm gonna just read it to you. I do not think that is the first time that they see after the capture, but this scene where they see each other after they both have been through danger, that is this one scene that I think was absolutely beautiful, and Nina has said it right, so I'm gonna read it to you. This was basically the scene when Kaz and Inej were both at different places and both of them were in danger and they did not know if both of them were safe or not, and they were kind of scared for each other. So this is kind of Nina's point of view. So this is what written here. Nina glanced from Inej to Kaz and saw they both wore the same expression. Nina knew that look. It came after the shipwreck, when the tide moved against you and the sky had gone dark. It was the first sight of land, the hope of shelter and even salvation that might await you on a distant shore. This line is again very beautiful. I mean, it's just written so beautifully. This is how Kaz and Inej's relationship. Both of them have been through so much. Both of them have their own traumas. And when both of them look at each other, they just see salvation for each other. They know that they love each other and they just cannot express it, but they somehow know it, that the other person loves them. So that is the beauty of their relationship. There were so many things to love in this book. There were so many twists and turns. There were so many action scenes. There's Nikolai. Yes, we get a Nikolai scene. We see him with Zoya and Genya. I love that scene again because Nikolai for me is always like the best. Whenever I see him, I just have this smile and I just love seeing him. And Nikolai and Kaz in the same room. I mean, Cass knows that Nikolai is actually the king, and he figures it out because again he's very smart. I love that he's always smart, and Nikolai being himself makes a deal with Cass. I love that whole scene. There was again a fan service scene which I absolutely love. I would actually love to see both of these characters in the Shadow and Bone TV series, which I've loved. If you have not watched that video yet, go and watch it. I have been ranting about that series because I was in love with that TV series, and we get Darkling and Cass showdown in that series. So I want the same to happen for Nikolai and Cass too, because I just love to see them together. Overall, this book had everything. The romances are on point. I love the relationship between Wieland and Jesper. I've been waiting for that since the first book. And there is this scene, that funny scene. I remember I was laughing so hard. That was just so embarrassing. I mean, Jesper finally he gets that strength. He finds this courage to actually tell Wieland how he feels about him. So he goes to this music room where he thinks that Wieland is actually playing the piano, and then he ends up kissing him. But Wieland comes in and he coughs or something to get their attention, and that is when Jesper realizes that he was kissing Kuei instead of Wieland. Actually, Wieland looks like Kuei because he has changed his appearance to actually fool his father. But again, Kuei and Wieland are so different in many ways, and Jesper did not realize that because he was in the heat of the moment, I guess. So he did not realize it, and then he kissed him, and at that scene that Wieland sees him, that scene is like again very iconic. I love that scene. It was so funny. I loved it. It was like again Wieland and Jesper are like so perfect together, and in the end they end up together with this so much money, and Wieland is of course very rich by the end of the book, and both of them cook together, live together. That is just again the beautiful, just beautiful. The other relation that I want to talk about is Nina and Matthias. And what happened to Matthias? I love Nina and Matthias together. Both of them are so different from each other. And there's this scene on the couch where Matthias is actually sleeping with Nina and he has his arms wrapped around her. I think that was one of the most sweetest scene. And they're just doing it in public. I mean, Matthias is not someone who likes to show his affection in public, to be honest. But he's doing that in front of everybody. And he's not that much shy with Nina anymore. I just love that. I love that scene. And then that scene happened. I knew that Nina is not gonna die in this book because she was not supposed to die. Even though she took Param, I was not so sold on her dying. But I still did not believe that Leigh Burdugo actually killed Matthias. I mean, Matthias had so much growth in this series. I mean, he was the one who was kind of rigid, who was conservative in his thought, and that was not because of the person he was. He was taught that way, he was brought up that way, so that is why he was that person. And he learned so much in this book. He learned so much, he grew so much, and his death, I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, it was written beautifully. How he died, I mean, this kid who was just like him, innocent like him, he was brought up the same way as Matthias, and then he killed him, even though at the last moment Matthias was trying to actually make him understand, to open his eyes that you are innocent right now, but you need to open your eyes to the world. You might be scared right now, but world is not that scary. That scene is very beautiful. But the way it ended, the last line that he was shot, I just could not believe it. I was kind of in denial. I mean, I did not actually believe that one of the main characters can actually die. I mean, I just did not want to believe that. So I thought, okay, fine, Nina is gonna save him and then she's gonna become more powerful. But that did not happen, and he actually died. That whole scene when he comes to Nina and then he talks to her and then she realizes that he's been shot, and then he just breaks down like that, and then he's talking about saving people, he's talking about saving Druskale, then he's talking about Nina being much stronger, he's talking about her to become a warrior and to save a little bit for hurting people. I mean, that whole scene, I was just in so denial that I just could not accept that, and I still don't accept it. I mean, I could not cry because I was just in denial. I cried much later than that because because I had this hope that he's gonna be rescued in some way, that he's gonna come back, but he did not by the end of the book. So when I finished the whole book, it actually hit me. Leigh Burdugo knows how to hit you. I mean, Matthias was the only character who had much growth in this book. He changed so much because the other characters remained same. They did not change, they were better from the start. But Matthias changed so much, and then him dying like that, I just could not get over it. I do not know what I feel about that. I just know that it was written beautifully. So now let's talk about Inej and Kaz before I start breaking down. I love their relationship. You know that I have been saying that for a very long time. Their relationship is so unique. This is not something that I have read before. I mean, both of them are victims of trauma. Both of them have been through so much. Inej was a sex slave. She had to sell her body. There were so many things that was done to her. And then it was explained in this chapter where Kaz and Inej actually talks about their trauma. Kaz talks about his trauma, how his brother died, how he became the way that he is now, what is his revenge. And then Inej talk about her past, why she has trouble in touching anybody, why she has so much of issues. That whole chapter is just so sad and heartbreaking. I mean, seeing these two characters, which I absolutely love, have so much of trauma, have how broken they are, and both of them are trying so bad to try to build themselves. Both of them have the strength, but they are again very weak, and both of them are trying to reach out to each other, but their struggles are actually making it very difficult. The first time that Kaz actually tries to touch Inej, he has such trouble with it, but still he's trying because he loves Inej and he wants to do that for her. He wants to do that for himself. That whole chapter, that whole scene is just beautiful. It's just written beautifully. And by the end, when Kaz actually finds Inej's parents and reunites her with them, that is again a most thoughtful scene that I've read. Kaz is just amazing. He does all of these things without actually realizing that how great he is. He knows that he's broken, and even Inej is broken, and their relationship cannot be like the normal relationship that Matthias or Nina have, or Jesper or Villain have. But still he tries his best. He's doing his best. He gives her that beautiful ship in order for her to fulfill his dreams. He is willing to actually let go of his love in order to see that Inej can fulfill her dreams. He wants to give her that freedom that she never had. And by the end, when Kaz's gloves are finally off, that is the sign of the first step that he's taking. And also Inej is taking her first step when she entangles her hands with Kaz. That is again just done beautifully. Both of them are broken, so of course they cannot kiss. I love that they do not have those scenes. Of course I wanted that scene. The romantic in me needed that scene, but I also understand why that cannot happen. Both of them are still struggling with touch. They are still struggling, and they're trying, and they're just gonna take a little bit time for them to actually heal. And they'd want to do this healing on their own. They do not need to rely on each other to heal, and that is again the most beautiful part of this book. I mean, it is a great thing if you are surrounded by people you love and people who loves you. It is a great motivation and it actually helps you heal, but the healing needs to be done on your own. But of course I wanted to live together and be happy always. We just get a glimpse of it when Inej actually asks Kaz to meet her parents, and then he's asking her whether his tie is straight or not. I just love that scene. I think that was like the most human that he has been in this whole book, in this whole series, and I just love that. I do not know if wishes are granted or not, but there's my wish that we get a third book in the series. I have read in the Goodreads that maybe there's a third book. I'm not so sure. It has been a long time since Crooked Kingdom came, so I'm not so sure that there's gonna be a third book. But maybe Leigh Burdugo can be pursued to write the third book because she is much involved in the Shadow and Bone TV series. So maybe she gets the motivation, maybe she'll write, I do not know. But I really want her to write it because I do want to see more of the other characters. Even though I'm going to miss Matthias so much, I do not know how to deal with him not being the part of the Drex, but still, I do not know. I just want the third book. So overall, if you have not guessed it already, I'm going to give this book 5 stars because I love this book. This book is perfect. There's nothing wrong with this book. Every single scene, every single page, every single chapter is just plain perfect. Do let me know in the comments down below what you think of this book. I know that you love it. So just let me know what are the scenes that you love, what are the things that you love much about this book. And of course, do not forget to subscribe and click that bell icon if you want to see more book related content. Thank you for watching this channel. See you next time.